People, what is good? Welcome back to L5 Star FC. We've got a Premier League talk show, and as you can see by the side of me, we are joined by the two the two more important panelists in Ben and Salah. Well, we'll start with you, Ben. Obviously, me and you did the preview. Obviously, how are you feeling after what was an ugly win, which looks a bit ugly now that we look back on it, but those ugly wins are the most sexy when we win the league, mate. But how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. It's been a good weekend. Like you said, it was an ugly win. Sometimes you have to win ugly, but we'll unpack all of that in the show. I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, big up Ben and big up Salah as well. I know you were keenly watching the F1 today. Thoughts on that? Is that going to affect your mood, or
No, not necessarily. Of course, I think it was my first ever one I watched, so it wasn't really bad. But again, I supported Hamilton because fellow countrymen. So yeah, it was a mad fight. It was a mad race. I cannot lie, but what happened near the end is it's criminal. Like the FIA are worse than the Premier League officials. Just keep it like that.
Oh, mate, we will get into the officials indeed, mate, because I've never, ever watched a football match and win a game of football and still be so angry, mate, because it really felt like doing a large part of that game we were playing, against the referee, and it was always going to be a case of trying to dig ourselves out of the hole that we were in. And that's not to our discredit. I think we played a decent game, but I think it was just the poor officiating. The fact all three, it was moments and instances where midfielders for their team, and Douglas Luiz, McGinn, and Nakamba were putting in stupid challenges on our players, and they wouldn't even get a foul, let alone a card. And it was just moments like that where before half time, and I think towards the end of the game, not before half time, I think it was, where we were on the counter attack and the referee called for half time, and just it was so double standards. But what was your thoughts on the officiating yesterday, Ben? I mean, it was shocking to say the least. And just to say that we have the best league in the world and officiating of that caliber, it's a shame. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, man, there were definitely some questionable calls made yesterday. I mean, like you said, the midfielders are flying into tackles, but we don't see, no cards, no punishment. But I mean, sometimes you just have to take these things as they go, man. Like, you just got to focus on winning games. And I mean, like you said, England, probably the Premier League is the best league in the world, people say. But I mean, I personally, from what I've seen, man, it has the worst refs in the world, because I mean, yeah, like everything is just there for you to see, like the way they use VAR, the way they make calls. I mean, it's just one of those things, man. I've kind of gotten used to it in a way, English refs are not really the best.
Yeah, it always does feel like we're playing against the refs half the time. But to be fair, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was Stuart Atwell went home to his family and decided to lounge in Man United pajamas. But Salah, what was your thoughts on the officiating? I mean, yeah, we were playing 11v12 for the large part of that game, but how important was it to get the 3 points compounded with the disadvantage that we had throughout the whole 90?
I don't really care how we get the 3 points. You can give me 1-0 wins every game of the season, scruffy 1-0 wins. I don't really care. 97-minute winners, I don't care. Just get me the 3 points every day of the week. Officiating was horrible. I think start of the game, first 10 minutes, maybe it was okay, but I think after that, it was just fouls that we weren't getting, but the same thing that basically the fouls that we weren't getting, when we committed them at Villa, they were getting those fouls, and that's what really annoyed me. But it was, I don't really know how to explain it, because I think we should have got at least 2 penalties. So
yeah.
It's just there's a reason why, I said it on Twitter as well. There's a reason why Stuart Atwell hasn't reffed the game in Anfield over 2 years, and on Saturday, that basically explains why he hasn't.
Well, he won't be refereeing another game for sure. Or if he is refereeing a Liverpool game at Anfield or anywhere, I'm not even watching the game, mate. I honestly, I was that close to turning it off, and I never have ever turned off a Liverpool match. But I'm so glad I didn't. But it wound me up to the point where I was on the brink. But to be fair, I think it's just compounded by the fact that the officiating is just inconsistent. I don't think it's necessarily the extent of the challenges, although they were reckless and how they weren't even picked up for a foul is beyond me. But it's just like the consistency, because we see challenges like that next week and on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because we know that's a Premier League midweek fixtures, and they'll be given, and it's just a constant it's constant unclear. I don't even know, mate. I don't even know. But we will gonna talk about the Champions League draw very soon. Obviously, tomorrow there'll be a Champions League reaction to the draw. Obviously, me and Ben talked about this in the preview. So I'll just ask Salah before we get any further as part of the kickoff question. Salah, before we move into the Liverpool 1 Villa reaction, obviously the Champions League draw is set to take place on the Monday, the 13th of December. We know that we'll face one of these teams. Who would you take out of PSG, Sporting, Inter Milan, Villarreal, Benfica, and RB Salzburg? And a watch long will be coming on Klopp Talk TV at 10:45 tomorrow. But what would you say, bro?
Again, we've been the best team in the Champions League this season. Bro, when I read out those names,
I'll take anyone, man.
None of them literally I'm scared of. Like, give us any team there, we're beating them. Like, literally, that's how confident I am. I've seen a lot of people say give us PSG. Like, I wouldn't be pissed and annoyed if we got PSG, but I'll just rather have easier teams first, and then later on, of course, when the competition progresses, then they all need the big teams left. But I don't really care who we get, because we should be beating all those teams that we could draw tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. We should be beating all those teams. But Ben, I want to ask you this question. Obviously, that was part of the kickoff question asked to Salah, but I'm going to come in and ask you with the question. Obviously, we found out today that Manchester United have had a mini outbreak in their team. That comes days after we found out that Spurs have had a major outbreak in their team, seeing 13 members of the Spurs squad, including backroom staff, returning positive tests. This is a period where we will start to see these, inconsistencies in terms of games maybe being called off, postponed. Will this have an effect on our title charge if it comes to Liverpool, God forbid? Because we talk about Chelsea, Man City in particular, having probably the best depth in the league. We have the best starting 11 in the league, but you need squads to win championships. And if games are to go ahead, knowing the agenda against Liverpool, it doesn't seem like it's a wild statement. But if an outbreak is forced to come to Liverpool, forcing a congestion else in a different part of the season, and or worst case comes to worst, we actually play those games with limited players, do you think that could affect our title charge going forward?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, if we were to have an outbreak, I doubt that any of our games would be postponed, because, like you said, there's an agenda against us. There has been for many years. So if worst comes to worst, we could have to play some kids, but hopefully, I don't think it would get that bad. But I mean, it could definitely affect us, especially if something happens to one of our key players like Mo or Virgil or Trent.
Exactly.
If something happens to them, then it could really seriously affect our title charge.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, that was a question that I wanted to raise as part of the news, which we've heard over the past few days and hours in specifically. But guys, please feel free to get involved in the discussion by dropping a few comments in the live chat, do all that good stuff. But welcome, first and foremost, if you are in the stream or watching the replay, welcome to the Liverpool Premier League talk show. Well, we talked a little bit on the officiating, which was a key part of Liverpool's performance yesterday. But 1-0, we said it before, it's all about winning ugly in these games. Salah quoted it to a perfection. hand me 1-0 wins over a 38-game season every game. You'll take it, you win the league, invincibility, all that sort of stuff. But obviously, I take it from a good perspective because, you know what I mean? I think winning bold against teams like 4-0, 5-0, 5-1s, 4-1s, they're emphatic. But I think these performances are the statement ones because a 1-0 may indicate that you may not necessarily be playing as well as you can, but you're still getting the job done. Whereas, 4-1 clearly highlights there is a gulf in class between the two teams. So I think overall, more title credentials are shown for the slender victories. And at the end of the day, it's all about winning ugly. That is my take on it. And I think it's important we reinstate that experience and that range of performances over the course of the season, because that's how we won the league in 2019-20. That range of performances allowed us to be comfortable in any situation throughout games where we had the belief, we had the faith to go on and present a performance and present a key moment, a key chance in which we felt we had enough confidence and quality at our disposal to take them. But Ben, how would you react to it? Obviously, that's two ugly wins in the Premier League. We've got Newcastle soon preview to come on that one. But based on this game as only, how important was it to get the 3 points?
Yeah, I mean, extremely important, man. I mean, I think I saw a tweet that said this was like the perfect win for Liverpool fans because it was 1-0 with a penalty and we didn't embarrass Stevie. So I guess, every cloud has a silver lining. I mean, like you said, sometimes you have to win ugly, man. I mean, in 1920, when we won like 20 or something games in a row, I think it was, a lot of, probably half of those came, with 1-0s, winning 2-1. And I mean, these kind of wins also, they boost your morale as a team, thinking that, okay, we're not playing our best, but we keep grinding. I mean, we know the mentality of this team, they aren't going to give up until the final whistle. I mean, and if you're playing against Liverpool, that also has to hurt, your psyche, because you're thinking this team isn't even playing at their best. Like, there have been times when they haven't played at their best, but they're still managing to win points. So yeah, I feel like it was an interesting day. Some players played good, some players played shit. The lineup definitely putting Ox in there was a big surprise for me, man. But yeah, like you said, sometimes you have to win ugly, and I feel like we did that. We didn't have a bad game at all. Wasn't our most clinical. There were definitely some chances we should have been putting away. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, we have 3 points, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the 3 points, all that matters. But Salah, breaking down the stats, I think we had 17 or 19 attempts on goal, only 5 shots are on target. So, if anything, we've got to try and get that shot on target rate higher to break these teams down. Because Aston Villa, we've got to credit Steven Gerrard for the way he set his team out, but we can also slander that for just the sheer stupidity of some of the challenges and the situations which we were faced with. And I was surprised that we didn't have any injury concerns coming out of that game. But obviously, it's all about winning ugly. That's what the banner says. How would you react to that? Obviously, you said you'd take 1-0 wins over the course of the season. But these, going back to my point, do you think it's important that Liverpool experience these range of results to try and build that experience going ahead to the games where you're not necessarily going to play well and you're not necessarily going to get the 3 points so straightforward? But what is your take on the 2 wins recently in Wolves and Aston Villa, in which we've had to win ugly?
I think Wolves game was again was a very good win, and then we had the game on Saturday. I think we didn't really create any clear-cut chances where we should have finished. And I think that's down to Gerrard, the way he set up his team. He let us go wide because he knew when we have the wide space in channels, that we would just fizz crosses around the box. And they knew that aerially, Konsa and Mings would easily dominate the likes of Ox and Salah. and thus it perfectly worked until Mainz did something stupid, which gave away their point. But I think for me, it's a bit of concern. Although we're winning, I think we've scored 2 or more goals in most of our league games this season, and that for the past 2 games, we've only scored 1 goal, and the performances haven't been really convincing. So I want it to change, and I think it will change because we do have Newcastle next, and Newcastle just lost 4-0 to Leicester. But yeah, I said it's all about winning ugly. I stand by that. But again, I don't know if it's a lack of concern, but another problem is Oxlade-Chamberlain, just play him in the midfield. There's no point of playing him in false nine, striker, winger. There's no point of that. Yeah, there's literally just no point of that. Just play him in the midfield. And you could have played Minamino there. But yeah, that was just my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's only right we go on to the Oxlade-Chamberlain stuff. Obviously, there was some questionable decisions made by Jurgen on the day. And we've got to really question them. Oxlade-Chamberlain, it was in the false nine. It did not work. I felt he was slow. And he just didn't move. He didn't move. And I think if you're Takumi Minamino right now, I would be absolutely fuming at that. I'd hand in your transfer request. I think that's a personal insult to Minamino if he's been, Oxlade-Chamberlain's been prioritised. And I think that performance right there has pretty much showed and highlighted that Oxlade-Chamberlain won't play in that position again. He'll still be an integral part of this team. I still have faith that he can perform and can produce of a high quality. But in that position, there is no way. And I think Minamino is perfectly suited to that. And I think it's a travesty that he wasn't included. But Ben, obviously, what was your initial reaction to find out Oxlade-Chamberlain was in the false nine? And after the 90th minute, how do you react? And how does that fare with your initial reaction?
I mean, I was a bit like you. I saw your comments. Like when I saw it, I was like, "Where's Origi?" I didn't know that he picked up a knock.
Yeah,
yeah, man. But I was still like a bit shocked, like Ox starting up front. But I was like, okay, but I mean, I didn't really understand it because I mean, Minamino was on the bench, and then come end of the 90, I was like, okay, I don't want to see that again because he just looked lost, man. Like he didn't know what to do. He seemed a bit like confused whether he should go or he shouldn't go. I mean, he had like probably one good moment in the whole game, and that was when he took a shot that went over the bar. That was probably the best thing he did the whole game. I mean, I just don't know. Like, why don't you play Minamino? Like, when we first bought Minamino, I thought that he was gonna be, kind of like Firmino's understudy, kind of the person who would take over that false nine role. But we've seen a very little of that, for the year or two that he's been here. I mean, Minamino knows how to play a false nine. Like,
I know.
He's done it I think he did it when he was at
Salzburg.
Yeah. Like, it's suited for him. He can play in between the lines. So why don't you just play him there? Because I mean, if I'm Minamino and I see you playing a midfielder over me that knows how to play in that role, dude, I'd be fuming, bro. Like, that would hurt my morale as a player, dude. Like, I just don't know what Minamino needs to do to, get Klopp's trust in games like these. Because, I mean, it baffles me, bro. Like, I don't know what factors led to Klopp making that decision, but I don't want to see Ox play there ever again, bro. Just keep him in midfield, bro. Like, he's a midfielder and he's actually good in the midfield. So just play him there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think, is off the ball work is just not good enough. I think if you want to play in that position, you see the work that Firmino does constantly when he's in the team. You see the work Jota does. And although Oxlade-Chamberlain, he has been more influential in attacks and getting the ball in dangerous positions of which he can produce into attacking opportunities, he does not lace Firmino or Jota's boots in terms of work rate. And you need 3 players in that front department to work. But Oxlade-Chamberlain, Salah, we know you've been very punctual on him in the past. And what was your overall reaction to finding out he was in the false nine? And like I asked Ben, overall reactions after it as well.
I already knew Origi had been injured. I was like, it's either Minamino plays or either, because there was news that Jota was on the bus. It's either he plays a 50-50 Jota or he plays a Minamino. What risk is he going to take? I never saw the Oxlade-Chamberlain false nine coming. But he did have that one game in the league against Wolves last season where he played very good for 15 minutes in that false nine position. And I was like, let's see. Let's give him a chance against Villa. It's harder opposition, good in form, but let's see. And I think it just doesn't suit him. Because I think in that false nine position, work rate has to be up. You have to be creative. You have to be on the goal half turn. All has to be sharp. And again, as Ben said, he was just lost. And that's just a sign. Just play him in midfield. Don't play him anywhere else. Because there was at times where he should be coming to receive the ball and he was too scared. I don't know if he was too scared. It just looked like he was too scared to come into the pockets and receive the ball and play them out. So, I just don't want to see it again. I don't think it suits him. And as I said, just play him in the 8 role. Anything else, just play him in 8. He's very good in the 8. Not very good, but he's good in the 8. Let's just keep it like that. Not consistent, but he's good in the 8, but he's not good in the wing or false 9. So,
Yeah, 100%. And we did score. Mo Salah got the goal from the penalty spot. Quite a fun little fact for you, actually. Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool and Manchester United all won their games in the weekend off a penalty kick. So an interesting fact for you there. But obviously Mo Salah got the goal. I mean, he is such an important player considering the fact he scored in midweek. He scored last week. Or he had an assist to a winning goal last week. And I think another interesting fact is that he's got 14 consecutive games of which he's contributed, whether that be a goal or an assist. So it's absolutely incredible numbers and remarkable numbers. But we go back to the same thing. Why isn't Mo Salah being given this contract? We've heard that Fabrizio Romano has labelled this a very complicated situation in terms of Mo Salah wanting a very high salary. But do you see a world in Salah in which FSG will give Salah this contract, which is being branded around as very hefty, considering the wage structure that Liverpool have with the current wage structure and what Mo Salah agent is acquiring for the Egyptian?
Again, Salah has reiterated in all his interviews when asked about contract. I'd love to stay at Liverpool. I'd love to finish my club career here. He's said it many times, but he's also said that the contract he gets given, I don't want it out of just money. He wants the hierarchy to realize what he means to Liverpool, what he means to that squad, and what he has done for them in the past few years. That's Salah's main goal in his contract. Although he does want a high pay, he wants the hierarchy to see how influential. He wants to feel that love and support and showing of the board of what he's done for this club since he's come in 2017. So I wouldn't say he's been money hungry because of course he deserves that money, but he wants that recognition from the hierarchy and he also wants that big pay rise. So I think those are the two main things, but again, it's just going to be a long thingy. We know how our owners are, so it's just going to be a patience game. I think Pierce said it perfectly. I said it would be more expensive to replace Salah if we let him leave. Just keep it at that. It would be more expensive to replace him. So it's better just to time down to a new deal. But this season, I don't see him signing a new deal. As of this season, I think if he signs a deal, I think it'll be end of summer. Maybe if we win the Champions League or Premier League a week after, signs a new contract like Origi did. But I don't know. Let's see. It's just a thing about patience. But as we fans are, we are impatient because you don't want to leave you don't want your best player to leave, especially on a free or only for like 70, 80 mil because he's in the last 2 years of his contract.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing Mo Salah, he's such an important, he's a detrimental part to Liverpool's system, and it's just considering the fact, he wants that number, and you said you branded there he wants to feel the love, and obviously, Fabrizio Romano is also quoted as well that the contract should be done before the end of the year. But time is ticking. We haven't really heard much since that. So can this be a very tricky situation in which we see Mo Salah eventually? Can you see a world, Ben, in which Mo Salah leaves Liverpool on a free? Or do you think, because, Mo Salah said it in interviews all along. He said he loves playing for Liverpool. He wants to finish his career. So this is a matter of the club and whether the club gives him the contract. So I'm sure the club are not going to say, look, let's put you on the market. Let's see what offers we can get in. They're going to just not give him the contract. But then you're letting Mo Salah go for free. So this complication, we see this all the time in when the contract starts to drag out, the uncertainty starts to increase, and we start to see players, run their contracts down, and it goes right into the ground. Can you see a world in which Mo Salah's situation will emulate that, or do you think there'll be a solution which will be reached very soon? And can you see that before the end of this season?
Well, it's a difficult one because, like you said, like we saw what happened with with Ronaldo's contract. They couldn't reach an agreement, and then it just he just ran it until he was done, man. But I mean, with our owners, anything is possible, man. But I mean, like Salah said, it would be more difficult to replace him and be more expensive to replace him than to just give him the contract that he wants. So I mean, he's pulling through for us in almost every game, whether it's a goal or an assist. I mean, he's just so reliable, But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's gotta be the final straw for FSG if they let Mo go on a free, man. Because I mean, he wants to stay. He has a special relationship with the club. He knows that the manager's behind him, the fans are behind him. He knows that this is one of the best teams in Europe. If he wants to win another Champions League, I mean, this team is maybe his best chance to win. Like, I mean, if he goes to Madrid, I mean, we have a better chance of winning it than Madrid does. So I don't know, man. It's a bit of a difficult one though. Like I feel like is just give him the wage he wants, because nobody in that dressing room is gonna argue and say that Mo is getting too much. Nobody's
they know. Everyone appreciates what he's done. Like Trent talked about Trent was interviewed, and the whole interview, he was just talking about Mo Salah, and like even what I don't know, what's he on right now? 220. He wants about
220.
He wants about 350, 400. That's only 150 more than the second highest earner, which is Virgil van Dijk. So it's not really breaking your wage structure, in my opinion. I don't think any player would really argue. I think Ben makes a very perfect point there. They know how important he is, so yeah.
Yeah, and considering... Go on, Ben.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like Salah said, he also wants to feel that kind of appreciation from, the people upstairs, from the owners, bro. So I just don't know, like... Because, I mean, if we let him go, we can't replace him. There's no player in the world right now that plays like him. Like, I mean, Lewandowski is a good goal scorer. So is Benzema, but nobody can do it and dribble and run with the ball at speed and also assist the way he does right now. So him leaving would be impossible to replace, man.
Yeah, exactly. And do we see a world in which maybe Jurgen Klopp decides to walk if Salah gets to the point where he leaves on a free, Genie's left on a free, the Super League, the ticket prices, all these factors, and culminating them into one certain specific perspective really forces you to really look at a different perspective. How must the manager be feeling? These constant restrictions in terms of the transfer structure when we are the best, we have the third best wage structure in the league. So if you take that into account, we have a very flexible range in which we can, accommodate players with their specific requirements. And I suppose FSG's only concern is if they raise Mo Salah's, do the likes of Virgil van Dijk want the contract raised? Do the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold want their contract raised? These star players, will that cause disruption in terms of the harmony? But to be honest, I think all these Liverpool players look at Mo Salah and think this guy is levels above your world-class striker. This guy is writing history in front of our eyes, and we are only now seeing it. This guy's been doing this for 4 years. 4 years, people. And he's
literally every season, not even literally every game, he's breaking
a
new record.
He scores.
Every game he scores, he breaks a new record. Every game, there's something. So like you said, I feel like everybody else in the squad will look at him and be like, this guy is just insane, bro. Like, just give him what he wants. The dressing room will probably be saying the same, dude.
Like, yeah, I mean, if Liverpool win a Premier League and make it 20-time champions, what more does Mo Salah need to do to be regarded as the best Premier League winger in history? What more does he need to do? He's won a Champions League. He's won 2 Premier Leagues. He's won the World Cup, the Super Cup. Class them as trophies all you want. They're still trophies. They're still classed as major honours. And Manchester United class theirs. So why can't we class ours? Yeah. So, what more does Mo Salah need to do? Personally, I think if he continues at the rate he's performing at, I still feel that Thierry Henry is on a different planet. But yeah, again, I didn't really watch Thierry Henry. But from what I've seen, he was a baller. But Mo Salah is just emulating that in front of our eyes. And mate, what a generation of football we are seeing. But obviously, we must talk about going back to the Liverpool 1 Aston Villa reaction video. How Gerrard set his team out. Obviously, it was very emotional to see Gerrard back in Anfield. Hopefully, in 2 or 3 years' time, we will see him in that position, leading his Liverpool team out. But what was your thoughts on the team that he did put out, Ben? Obviously, I'm a bit skeptical on it because I think you can look at it from a good perspective because, they've got that never say die attitude. They play every game like it's a cup final. They're going into challenges. But then you can look at it in another way. Why are teams setting out to play like Atletico Madrid 2019-20, where they're just going to try and take players out, try and outwit the other team by getting another player sent off? Why are they trying to take that approach? That is one thing that I did not like about Aston Villa yesterday, was the fact that everything they were doing was in attempt to try and derail Liverpool by taking a player off. Just play the game. The best team will win, but just don't cheat your way to a scabby little result. That's just what my pet hates. But Ben, what was your overall reaction to how Gerrard set his team out? Was there any positives that you can take from it, or was there a few negatives you could take out of it? What was your perspective?
I would say that, I didn't really look at the game like that. I just saw it as, 2 teams. They were playing physical, so obviously we had to match that. But yeah, some of their players are a bit, they like to get, rough and rowdy and try and, work the opposition up. Like, I mean, Ollie Watkins is an example. Like, I mean, he got Virgil a yellow card when he was holding onto Virgil's arm. So, I mean, it's stuff like that, bro. Like, and with lesser teams, if I can call them that, no disrespect, but with certain teams, they know that they won't be able to take on Liverpool pound for pound. So they will resort to such tactics to kind of, maybe bring us down a number or 2, try and get in our heads. And I mean, we see it a lot with Sadio, man. Like, sometimes it feels like people gang up on him because they know he's gonna retaliate, and then they hope he'll get a card or get sent off. So yeah, I mean, they were also really deep. I don't think that was the intention though, because I heard Gerrard said in his press conference they didn't want to play that deep. But sometimes when you play against Liverpool, they literally pin you back. But yeah, man, I don't really like to focus on the opposition too much. I like to focus on us. They played physical. we matched them as we always do. I mean, we aren't gonna let ourselves be walked over, especially not in our own yard, man. So we matched them well, we pressed them well. So in that aspect, it was a good game from us.
Yeah, in that aspect, it was definitely a good game. Right, before we go to Salah's viewpoint, I'll just go through some comments. Big up to everyone. Keep your comments flowing in. Pro Club's Goal says he'll take PSG or Bayern, but they play in the Farmers League. Mo Salah, I think he's on about there. But drop a like on the stream. Subscribe if you are new, Reds. Make sure, guys, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so by hitting the red button underneath the title of the video. We cannot let his contract run down to the final years as the Goals Life guys. 100%, mate. Guardiola, we cannot replace him, emulating what Klopp will eventually say if worst comes to worst, Salah is forced out the club. But heard people say Elliott returned to first team in January means that we will not sign anyone in January as it's like a new player. Well, obviously,
we won't sign. The thing is,
we won't sign anyone
regardless of whatever happens in January. We will come in.
Yeah, I don't know where this is optimism that Liverpool will sign anyone regardless of the fact, if Elliott's injured or not. I mean, it took them till the last day of the window to sign a centre-back from Preston North End and a defender, from no disrespect to Ozan Kabak, but from 20th placed Schalke in the Bundesliga to come to Liverpool on a loan. Honestly...
And bear in mind, I remember there was a report from David Unstein. I think it was like 27th December. My friend showed me, he's like, Liverpool are going to sign the centre back. What are you going to do? I was like, don't believe him. He's a rubbish journalist. And I said it out of lies. Even though David Unstein, we know he's reliable. I was like, nah, he's bullshit. How can we not sign the defender in January? But later on, as you went, I was like, wow, these men really did not want to sign a defender in January. So it just shows that they had no ambition, that they had no plan from the set-off to buy a defender in January. They won't have a plan from the set-off this month to buy an attacker in January. Especially if they only go for 2 games. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, exactly. But it is what it is. It was emotional seeing Steven Gerrard back at Anfield. You'll never walk alone coming in the comments as well. Big up to Uthman. But the Pro Club's Goals also says, then from the 80th minute till the final whistle, we could have made it like 3 or 4.
Yeah, we had a lot of counter attacks which we fucked up badly.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Salah Jota one comes to mind. Although Villa had a few opportunities as well. I mean, there was a mix-up between Matip and Alisson towards the end, in which seeing Danny Ings get given a little bit of an opportunity, bit of anxiety going around the crowd there. But everyone plays against Liverpool like it's the game of football, last game of football they'll ever play. I mean, that must be a compliment to Liverpool's game, but at the same time, I think it's just play football. I mean, the best team will win. Give it your best shot. I mean, the best teams just play simple football. I think Johan Cruyff said the best teams in world football just play the basics of football. So I mean, not every team has to go into a game, being reckless and dirty and just not playing by the rules. But Salah hasn't missed a penalty in the Premier League since October 2017. I was going to correct you there, L5 Star, but then realised that was in the Champions League. But that's still mad stuff.
Yeah, he missed one against Huddersfield, I think.
Which he converted off the follow through.
Did he?
Yeah. Because I heard James Redmond say it the other day. He the penalty was saved, of which he then went and tapped it in.
Oh, I never knew that. I just thought he just missed it completely. But I'm still scared. Every time he goes up for a penalty, I'm still scared.
Yeah, exactly. I just think with Mo Salah, just because when he just approaches the ball and the power he puts on it, a lot of players would put power on it and it just goes into row Z. But because it's Mo Salah, it's just like... Yeah, it's just a look.
He smashes it and you feel like...
But his pens have improved though.
What if he loses composure?
Yeah, they have.
Straight the keeper. What if he puts...
But his pens have improved a lot. Because I mean, he missed one earlier this season, I think.
AC Milan.
AC Milan. He
broke the guy's wrist.
Yeah.
I think he broke the guy's wrist.
They have to sign a new goalkeeper.
But I mean, bro, because now he's starting to place them he puts them bottom corners, top corners. Before he just used to
that one against Martinez on Saturday. I think if he had just smashed that, Martinez would have 100% saved that.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
put that so in the corner, and that was such a good penalty. You could even see Martinez, like, he was so angry because he knew it was such a good penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think personally as well, it's because Martinez is such a big keeper. Mo Salah's tactic was go low. You know, for such a big keeper, he's going to take him time to get to the floor. But, you know, Emi Martinez, and all credit to him, he did get to the floor relatively quickly for such a big man. So, look, obviously, a question coming in from the goals like, guys, lads, if you could choose one player to bring in January, Mbappe, Bellingham or Rafinha, none. It won't happen. But if I had to choose one, I'd choose Bellingham. I think Bellingham fits the system. He's an English homegrown player. You've got to take that into account now. He can play in a midfield in a position which he can thrive off going forward. You know, Mbappe would have to go in the front three, and you'd have to sacrifice maybe losing one of Mane and Salah. So that's why he's out the door. Rafinha's a good option, but I think Bellingham is proven. Although Rafinha's Premier League proven, I just take Bellingham for the fact he's also homegrown. You know, he's also stated his admiration for Liverpool in the past as well. So taking all them factors, culminating them into one perspective, that's why I take Bellingham. What would you guys say before we move into the last section of the show? But who would you say, Ben? I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all know it's never gonna happen. But I mean, say we were in a fantasy world, I would take Bellingham, man. Like, he's just so good on the ball, and him in our midfield would be crazy, dude.
I mean, yeah, Bellingham one's more realistic. Maybe the Rafinha one's probably more realistic, but I mean, the Bellingham's not a far shout. But in January, I think that is definitely a long shot. But what would you say, Salah? Mbappe, Bellingham, or Rafinha? Obviously, I think you're a big fan of Rafinha, aren't you?
Yeah. Mbappe, man.
Mbappe.
Come on, he's a generational superstar. How can you say no to a generational superstar? Again, I'm not saying Bellingham's not. I'm not saying Rafinha's not. Rafinha, we know we're not going to get Mbappe. So realistically, when I look at these three, I want Bellingham because that's the player we need the most. But I love Rafinha as well. He's a saucy player, but you just can't say no to Mbappe. You just can't.
You can't, can you? But obviously, we've gone through the comments. Keep them coming. We'll aim to finish this stream very shortly. But player ratings very quickly. I'll start with myself. The goalkeeper, Alisson, got a clean sheet. Look, it was probably and arguably quite difficult. Well, it wasn't difficult at all. I think Aston Villa didn't even register a shot on target by the half-time mark. I'm not sure if that changed. But I know they did have opportunities during the game, of which they couldn't really convert. But I'd go an 8 out of 10 for Alisson. Didn't do much wrong apart from miscommunication towards the end. Trent Alexander-Arnold, look, probably wouldn't his best game, but opportunities are still important, and to create them, I'd probably give him a 7 out of 10. Robertson had a particularly good game in my opinion. Just strong from Robertson all round, and I think I'd probably give him an 8 out of 10. Van Dijk and Matip started Matip, I'd probably go a 7.5 for them, although they were convincing, they were strong, physical. They still got caught out once or twice, which I think warranted maybe lowering the rating slightly. But Fabinho, important as always, Mr. Fabulous. I'd go 8 out of 10. Who else was in the middle of the park? Henderson and Thiago in it. Thiago, I'd probably go. His off-the-ball work, it's just his energy to win the ball back and then push forward and try and exploit attacking opportunities. I think is one attribute of Thiago's which I'm in admiration, I'm in awe for. So I'd probably give him an 8 out of 10. Henderson, I'd probably give 7.5 out of 10 as well. Mane, Salah and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Oxlade-Chamberlain gets a 2. Salah gets a 9 out of 10. And Mane gets a 7. But boys, what are you saying? I'll start with you, Salah.
Keeper, I think this wasn't one of Alisson's best performances. I think there was 2 occasions where miscommunication and I can't lie that it should have been a pen for Villa where he just punched things. But you need luck to get past the line sometimes. But I'm gonna give Alisson a 6. Right back Trent. I think defensively he was calm. Attackingly, he didn't have much to do. He did have much to do, but he just fizzes it across the box. 7.5 for Trent. Matip and Van Dijk, I think this was a very good game for them. I think Matip, I'm going to give an 8. And then Van Dijk, I think he had absolutely amazing game. I'm going to give Van Dijk a 9. Robertson, I think ever since he was dropped, ever since he's come back, he's just been a machine, man. Like, every performance, he hasn't dropped, like, below a 7 out of 10 performance yet. So it's nice to see that he's slowly coming back to form. And yeah, Robertson deserves an 8.5. Midfield 3, Fabinho, he was calm, didn't have the best of games. I'm going to give Fabinho a 6.5. Right centre mid, Henderson, I think Henderson was good. I think first half he was better than the second half, but he was still good. He was intense, make sure the press was always good. So I'm going to give Henderson an 8. Thiago, I think first 10 minutes was lacking, but later on he finally started to pick up. I'm going to give Thiago an 8. And the front 3, Salah, I'm going to give a 9. Match winner, Mane, I'm going to give him 8. I think he could have exploited. He did exploit Matty Cash, but he didn't do it effectively. And then Ox, I'm gonna give Ox a 4, solely because he was just unlucky he was in that position. But yeah, those are my theories.
Big up to Salah. Now on to you, Ben.
Ellison, I give him a 6. He made like one mistake, and then the other one was like a miscommunication. But yeah, these things happen. Like you are gonna make mistakes. It's just when you do, your defenders need to be there to cover for you, and that's what they did. Trent, I'll give him a 7. He worked well. Wasn't his best game, but he's still amazing. Robertson, 7 as well. Since like you guys said, since he's been dropped, he's just been amazing. Been getting forward a lot. Matip, I'll give him an 8.5. Like, this guy's dribbling is just insane, dude. What the hell? And he's defending great as usual. Van Dijk, I'll give him a 9. I think he's my man of the match, eh? Van Dijk, Fabinho 8. Thiago 8. Henderson 7.5. Midfield was amazing, dominated as per usual. Sadio, I think I'd give him a 7. He was again unlucky to not score, but just the way we rely on him, the way we play, him pressing, him holding up the ball, him making passes. And another thing that we don't talk about a lot is his partnership with Robertson, man. It's almost like at times it's kind of like, like they know, like it's kind of like it's like I don't know how, but they know where they're gonna be, dude. Like Sadio will know where Robo's gonna be, and the same with Robo. Like their partnership is it's amazing. Ox, I'll give him a 4 because I feel like it's not the position for him. That's just the only thing why I was a bit lenient with him. So I'll give him a 4. Mo didn't have the best of games, but still scored. So I'll give him an 8. It was a good penalty. So yeah, there's that from me.
Yeah, big up to Ben. Said it perfectly. But before we leave, guys, I'm going to get a little bit of a prediction. Obviously, we've said who we want. We will face anyone. But who do you think will play? I think we'll play Inter Milan. Salah, who we picking? Who we drawing?
PSG.
Ben?
Benfica.
Ooh, you know what? I'm sensing a little bit of Benfica, but now I'm going to go into Milan, to be fair. Continue, go around the Milans and get the job done. That's what we do. But Champions League draw will be coming on my channel. So Champions League is set to take place on Monday, the 13th of December. And your boy in Klopp Talk TV is scheduled to tomorrow at 10:45 British time to get a watch along for that.
Morning.
Yep, 10:45 in the morning. So got to watch on for that. And then we got a Champions League reaction video on this channel later on in the evening. So join us for that one. Big up to everybody who's tuned in the chat, all that good stuff. Big up to LFC fan who's only just come in, but big up to yourself and just show in. Make sure you smash a like, guys. Pro Club's goal says Inter Milan. LFC fan says RB Salzburg. Goals Life Guy says PSG. Sporting says Carlisle. So it's a variation indeed. But we'll have to wait and see. Not long to go now before that draw. But take care, everyone. Take care. Peace out. Love to a brilliant show joined by two brilliant panelists. Take care, all. See you all soon. And thank you for
watching.
Alan.
Take care, Ben.
Take care, boys. Take care. Peace.